Welcome into the fishbowl here, everybody. Here, welcome to a show I like to call Ragin Fishbowl. This is gonna be a little bit different here because we do have a new page called Ragin Fishbowl, and to kind of break it down a little bit for everybody, it is it's kind of a new page. This focus strictly on Ragin Cajun content. Like this page will be shared there, among other things here, all that stuff there. So without further ado, let's give it up to Jalen. Jalen, what you think about Raging Fishbowl? Also, support our guys, Team Whiskey. They really appreciate y'all support out there. They've been liking our stuff. So, what you think, Jalen?
Yeah, keep supporting Team Whiskey, guys. Hey, who doesn't love some good whiskey? But hey, Raging Fishbowl, I think it's great. Getting everybody get to see the content straight from the Raging Cajuns. I think for those big diehard Cajun fans out there that want to see the content all day, every day, I think this is the page for you. Follow, subscribe, everything. So I think it's great, Chief. How are you today, by the way?
I'm doing very well. About to get this stream set up for Facebook here, real quick. Here, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Just trying to get everything ready to roll here. But I do think that this is a very interesting, pivotal matchup for the Raging Cajuns. That is something that we're looking at here, right? Like they're fighting for bowl eligibility. They got players out there that fight against Texas State, so that's going to be something there. The appeal that they tried doing was not successful to say the least. It looked like because there was a report that Dez was going to appeal. That was from KTC themselves. And we never really got any clarification why or anything like that. I've been watching it, but it didn't seem like anything came across there. I will be playing in the Youngsville Battle of the Branches softball tournament with a twist. So if you want to watch me make a fool out of myself, everything gets underway at 8 a.m. on
Woo
Saturday
woo!
morning. So early start to the day. I'm gonna do some more stretches before I go out there and completely embarrass myself here. But that's kind of thing there. So if you're tuning in here, okay, I got the Facebook stream here going real quick here. Hello everybody on Facebook. If you're watching this here, you can watch stream on YouTube as well if you want our little lower thirds because we do have just other content like this is talking about the volleyball team playing and never and the volleyball team going to take on Georgia Southern. So and tonight, Raging Cajun men's basketball going on the road in the West Coast take on Stanford. I got a long night. I will miss part of the first game because I will be live for the LSU preview with Caleb and Juicy. I think Juicy's joining us. Caleb for sure will be on the show tonight. I gotta make sure get all my boys ready to roll here. But look, that's part of it here. We're gonna be very it's gonna be very I just got the tip off the LSU's tipping off right now. So that's something I gotta keep track of. So yeah, like it's gonna be a long night for the fishbowl sports here. We're gonna hammering it down here. So this is the worst. To me, this is the worst time of year because at least with baseball, you kind of can go around like the baseball is gonna be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's your big series. The midweek games, they can be okay for your RPI and that kind of thing. But the big games are on the weekend. You kind of know that along with basketball. You can cover all of those in one thing. Football, like this week, Arkansas State and the Cajuns playing Thursday night. We have to do it tonight because if we wait tomorrow, it's gonna be a quick turnaround for all of us involved here to kind of do all this stuff. So that is kind of the hard part of doing all these like shows at a time to try to manage the stuff. So I know that the Cajuns will be on the West Coast. I will have to stay up for that one, Jalen. I'm sure you will too. Um, we're not no spring chickens anymore. I can tell you that much. But yeah,
No, but I will say we're still young, ladies and gentlemen, and we want to see the outcome of this game because it's it's the game of the year. On the road, you have to win. The Cajuns, it's gonna be a tough one.
it is gonna be a very tough one for them. How you, Jalen? What Arkansas State? What you think about? Are they gonna be throwing the ball a lot? Do you expect them to throw the ball a lot against this Cajun secondary being kind of somewhat depleted?
Oh, absolutely. I think going into it, I think Arkansas State still wants to throw the ball, but the fact that the Cajuns have these players suspended, and most of them are from the secondary, especially your starters. When it comes to the safety position, I think for sure Arkansas State is going to throw the ball down the field, and they're going to be able to run it too. I mean, Arkansas State over the years have been their quarterback position. Jalen Rayner's been the quarterback for a couple years now, and he's gonna tote the ball and run. So, but hey, over the last couple games for Arkansas State, he's been able to throw the ball, and that's how they've been still winning. They had a little win streak at one point, so I'm worried for the Cajuns because they're going to throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, I think Arkansas State is going to attack that secondary due to that fight with Texas State. 7 Cajun football players got suspended, and if you go look at the injury report here, that I could pull that up for everybody real quick here. Give me a second here. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. I won't be able to do it on Facebook. I apologize for that, but just looking at this right here, that's a long injury list. Just give me a second, Jalen. I think that so usually in this series, I know Cajuns have won the last several couple of them. Like this is dating back to the Napier era that he ran the Cajuns offense for. But this is the problem with it here that usually before Napier showed up, home team won this one. That's how it was up until like 2018. Then now that kind of got switched around and everything else. Whereas it was is different now because Napier's success against Arkansas State and Daz he's played pretty well against Arkansas State himself here, except 2023 when they went there with Zion Chris, they lost, and that was kind of it was like okay we could have did better, but Arkansas State looks like they're really formidable here. I think they're really going to attack. I think they're really going to attack that Cajun secondary though with all the players being out. I think that's going to be one of the big matchup problems that we're going to watch to see on Thursday night how that's all going to unfold there because you got your backups in there, but the Cajuns, this could be a very pivotal game for this future development wise because you might have guys like, look, I said this before, your backups might be better than your starters in certain cases, in certain parts of the season. And when your backs against the wall, hey, you might try extra hard to do this thing right the right way. You might double down and just do what you got to do in that situation there. So that is one thing we're going to have to see here is can the Cajuns make these adjustments and just come out on top here? I think they got a really good opportunity to do that kind of thing there. I think that's something that they can do very well here. They're gonna be ready to go. I'll tell you that much. How do you think the Cajuns have to stop them from running the football though too? I think that might be something they might try to surprise onto the Cajuns. That might be something to kind of look at. What do you think, Jalen?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that uh, when you look at the Arkansas State team, I think coming into the beginning of the year when they lost like because they lost like they won the first game. I think they lost like maybe four straight after that. So it's like okay, in the middle of the pack, we were like, okay, Arkansas State not gonna be that good. But then you look at the back end of it, they've won every game since that losing streak, except when they lost to Southern Miss, who's number one in the West, by the way. But you could easily turn around a season, and the Cajuns have been inconsistent. Like it's just up and down, up and down. And when you're losing key players, especially on the defense side of the ball, no, it's very scary. And I think Arkansas State is going to have a balanced attack. They have a lot on the line too, and because they're trying to get to the Sun Belt West. They're trying to clinch that. So um Arkansas State has a lot riding for them too. And it's gonna be a tough one for the Cajuns. It really is.
Yeah, so I'm about to pull it up, like I said here, guys. Just give me one moment here. So here's the document that I'm about to pull up here. Also, in news today, ESPN ranked Brent Gordon Jr. in the top 20 of all freshmen in all college football for the season.
That's
So
impressive for someone who Brent Gordon Jr. who didn't even start the year starting on the defense side of the ball. That says a lot.
yeah, like it, good players gonna find their way onto the field here. So let's share this here real quick here. This is the report. All right, so that's the Cajuns' injury. list. Uh, read them in wheat, boys.
That's a lot of outs.
Yeah. Look how many offensive linemen. One, two, three, four, five.
The George Jackson right top of the list.
Yep. Um, see Tyree Skipper, Cortland Flowers, Cody Jackson, Khalif Edwards. And then you got some questionable ones too. So that defensive side of the ball is gonna be hurting for sure. So this is for Arkansas State here. You don't get as many injuries on their side. You got their Cross. They're good. Cross was a good running back for them. He did very well against the Cajuns a couple of times. You got Smith and Wright, their offensive lineman and defensive lineman being out. Rayner is going to be probable. So, and that's what I was like, man, if there's one game I wanted Rayner to miss, it was this one, but
Oh, definitely.
it's not it's not looking good at all, and that's not great news for the Cajuns either. So it's a really tough blow for sure. Like this is just huge.
This is the worst time to have that many players out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like especially when you're trying to get to bowl eligibility and clinch it here. Um, Cajuns have battled injuries for this whole entire season. It's been an injury-ridden season here, which I think you could. I mean, I think the Cajuns could have won maybe a game or two without all these people being out. I think that's flipping the script there a little bit there. So, but yeah, we'll just take it off of here. So that's the problem that we're like facing here. So it's you're gonna have guys get out of the game here and stuff. You're gonna have injuries happen to you, but that many injuries, that's a lot here. I kind of wondered about this and other time we were talking about our injury list. Is it the strength and conditioning? Maybe we're not getting guys into shape like we usually are. So, what do you think, Jalen?
Yeah, I think because when you look at especially at the quarterback position where you go from Ben to Chandler to when the Cajuns had Zion just dealing with those injuries, and then this year in the very first game Walker Howard's out, then Lunch eventually gets to start, and they try to. I still think it was questionable throwing Walker Howard in uh during homecoming, and he threw that interception which led to points. But I just think over the last couple of years, the Cajuns have dealt with so many injuries, and the question is, why is this team being full of injuries?
I mean, it happens like almost every year, which is like I kind of wonder if it's a strength and conditioning issue, right?
Eh,
Because your muscles get builder; they should be able to handle like tougher position to be bent in different angles that you're in there. Which, if you look at like Napier strength and conditioning compared to under Desmo, we've had we've had 4 years for each of them, right? Napier
mhm.
18, 19, 20, 21. Then you have Des 22, 23, 24, and 25. We've seen more injuries under Des than we have Napier, especially on the
And
offensive
it's
line.
oh,
Especially on,
I was just gonna say that it's more than it's definitely on the offensive line for sure.
and quarterbacks. Look, Levi Lewis was healthy for all those years compared to you can't just say it was like a one player thing. We've had multiple quarterbacks get injured during that time.
And do you know how many receivers were hurt? I mean, Sheldon Sampson, he's playing great, but he missed a lot of weeks too, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying these guys, they're injury prone or anything, but I think they need to look at that strength and conditioning side of it because I think that might be a part of the reason why that these guys are getting injured that way they are. Or is it because that doesn't make sense to me? Because if you're doing your reps, you got to tear your muscles to get them built up to be stronger, right? You got to get sore, right? And then there's continue doing reps and stuff and getting bigger and stuff. That's tip and nutrition, that kind of plays a role in it too there, or are they doing meal plans or whatever these guys got to do here to get into the best shape they could possibly be so they can play these games and handle all four quarters of a football game. So that's part of it. That's kind of what I'm wondering here. Is it because nobody's really talking about strength and conditioning too much here. And I'm thinking that might be part of the reason why here, or is it a medical staff issue? Which I don't think it would be a medical staff issue because it's preventive. Like you try to do preventive care for these guys. What do you think, Jalen?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not an issue with anybody on staff. And get this, injuries are a part of the game. Everybody knows that when it comes to sports, no matter what sport you play. But it's just when you have injuries that keep happening every single year, and it's big injuries. It's injuries that if certain guys would have played, I feel like the Cajuns would have won more games. So it's a huge deal. And I just think that I hope that that mystery gets solved going into next season, especially with everybody that should be coming back healthy.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of somewhat of this was a rebuild year for Dez. I'm gonna give Dez the benefit of this year because of the rebuild, because he lost a lot of wide receivers last year, and that was one of my biggest things in the preseason was who's going to step up for that receiver room. We can assume that there's going to be good players that come out of it, but you can't just assume things in the transfer portal era. You can't. Like Shelton Sanders was supposed to be that wide receiver one and just completely dominate that first game, and I think that was probably part of the issue. They were just expecting this to jump out of there, and that's kind of why I kind of got burned out a little bit there toward the end. But that's just part of it there, and that's just what we're gonna have to deal with at the end of the day. So that is something that we're just gonna have to deal with here. So I think if you look at that, let's talk about this for a second here. Um, it's gonna be a very interesting game here. I think up front, I think the Cajuns can run the ball here against Arkansas State. I think that's gonna be very pivotal for them to do so. It's just a matter of like can the Cajuns produce enough offense to pass up Arkansas State and beat them? Every time I pick against the Cajuns, they end up proving me wrong lately. So I will probably continue to do so tonight just for the help them out here. It isn't really a short week for the Cajuns at all. They had a bye week, so they do get a little bit extra time to prepare for this matchup here against Arkansas State. So that is something that we can look at and be like, look, I think this would be a very good thing for them, and it's going to be can they match up, right? Can they match up very well and handle business here? So let's look what the odds makers are saying here with this football game here. So if you're looking at this game, the over under for this game is set at 54 points. So they're looking somewhere, you know, the Red Wolves lost to Southern Miss 27-21 their last contest, and the Cajuns played Texas State. They beat them 42-39. It's going to be on ESPN. Point spread right now is at 2.5 points. Arkansas State is the favorite in that game there. Um, so statistically, the betting insights, Red Wolves have a 59.2% chance to claim victory in this contest based on the money line's implied probability. The Ragin Cajuns hold a 45.2% implied probability. Arkansas State has won 7 games against the spread this season while failing to cover 3 times. Louisiana has won 4 games against the spread this season, failing to cover the spread 5 times. So Arkansas State against the spread, a lot better than the Cajuns. 7-3. Cajuns are only 4-5 against the spread so far this season here. So in the last 4 head-to-head bouts, Louisiana has defeated Arkansas State 3 of the last 4 times. In the last 4 matchups, each team has covered 2 times with those contests, outscored a total on 2 occasions. Over the last 4 head-to-head contests, Louisiana has racked up 138 points, while Arkansas State has racked up 101 points. So this is all under Dez's era. So this is kind of a good thing that you would want to see here. So stat comparison, offensive points per game. Arkansas State's 23.3, 101st, and Cajuns are 26.1, 76. Defensive points per game, 82nd. Defensive points per game for Cajun, 104th. Turnovers allowed, rank 15 for the Cajun, 95th. Arkansas State, 18, 122. Turnovers forced, 13, 54. Cajuns, 14 with 49. So, like, there's not a big jump in these numbers here. So, allowed turnovers. You see, there's a big gap there. I would say 3 more turnovers is a big gap, I would say. The forced one, you can kind of like you flip either or on that situation there. So, Jalen Rayner so far this year, has thrown for 2,454 passing yards, completing 68.2% of his passes so far this year, 13 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. And yeah, that's gonna be the problem for the Cajuns here because secondary wise, you got a lot of people out of the secondary, and you got a quarterback that's almost got 2,500 passing yards on the season and completing 68.2% of his passes. That is something that the Cajuns are gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do here. Now he's got 13 passing touchdowns and 10 interceptions. I do think the Cajuns can force a turnover against him in this game against Arkansas State here. I think that's a possibility there. I do. I will say this. I think Rainer is going to throw at least one interception in this game against the Cajuns. What do you think, Jalen? How you feel about that secondary versus quarterback matchup?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that too. Because the thing about it is, when going into it, they know the Cajuns are depleted in the secondary, so they're going to keep throwing at him all game long. But I think the Cajuns are going to try to game plan forward, and the more he throws, the more likely he is to throw an interception. So you get a tip pass interception. Somebody's going to be able to make a play on the defensive side of the ball, and yeah, Rainer got he's got something to prove because, like you said, 10 interceptions. I mean, he almost has touchdowns equaling his interceptions. He got something to prove with that. He's not running the ball a lot these last couple of games. So I can see a huge turnover would change all the momentum for the Cajuns in that game.
I think if the problem with the Cajuns though up front is if that defensive line can get pressure on him. They haven't got a lot of pressure on quarterbacks this year too much. But they don't like he's a pocket passer. He's only rushing like 35.4 rushing yards per game. He's not doing too much on the ground, which Cajuns they typically struggle against these mobile quarterbacks that can move around the pocket and stuff. So, Kenyon Clay, their running back for Arkansas State, he has 405 rushing yards on the season, 40.5 yards per game, 3.7 yards per carry. Pretty decent. Almost getting about 4 yards carry, but 32 catches, 162 yards, 3 receiving touchdowns. Their receivers, they don't have a receiver over 1,000 yards yet. So I mean, you got Corey Rucker, 51 catches for 656 yards, 1 touchdown, 65.6 yards per game. Chauncey Cobb for Arkansas State's got 63 catches on the year for 634 yards, no touchdowns, 63.4 yards per game. Now, up front, Arkansas State's got two guys that combined together have 10.5 sacks combined together. Excuse me there. Ethan Hassler, 38 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks on the year. Delmarcus Hendricks, 36 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 5 sacks so far this season. Aaron Alexander, 56 tackles. He's a linebacker with 56 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, half a sack, 1 interception. Brandon Grill, 48 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and 1 interception. Now, that's the key players for Arkansas State. We're going to watch those guys whenever they come down there on Thursday night. So, now, granted, Winfield, if you're kind of a casual, he's not going to have the stats that Rainer has because he hasn't played as many games as Rainer. He was kind of like put in there in the mid game, like I think the 4th game of the season. I think that's when Marshall. They played Marshall. Dwayne Winfield's got 966 passing yards, 61.1% completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 354 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, 70.8 rushing yards per game. So that's something Winfield's got to take care of. He's got to take care of the ball better. 8 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. That's something he's got to do better. I think that is one. This is a learning lesson. He's got to put the ball exactly, or only his guys can get it, or make the safe completions. That way you can make the defense kind of fall asleep a little bit out there. Cajuns got a pair of running backs here with Zylan Perry and Elijah Davis. Together, they have over 1,100 rushing yards together. Perry himself has 602 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, 66.9 yards per game, 5.5 yards per carry. Elijah Davis, 556 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, 55.6 yards per game, 4.6 yards per carry. Shelton Sampson, who has been dealing with injuries for a good bit of the season here, still putting a reputable thing here with 24 catches, 442 yards, 5 touchdowns, 63.1 yards per game here. Jaden Duggar has led this Cajun defense here. It seems like 74 tackles on the year, 4 tackles, 1 sack, and an interception so far this year. So yeah, but you see the two key players here, Courtney Flowers and Terrence Williams. They're both out. I think Lawson is questionable. I think here. Lawson, let's see. Is he questionable here? Yeah, I see no, it's Edwards. Khalif Edwards. Courtney Flowers is out, yeah. So yeah, they're out. They got the Cajuns have the guys on the key they have 2 guys out there. So Terrence, yeah. So that's probably the rundown of it here. So Jalen, how you feel about this game going into it here? Who you think comes out on top between Louisiana and Arkansas State? Jalen? I think I might have lost him. We'll get back to Jalen here real quick. So, look, I'll make my pick here real quick here between those two. So, I've been picking against the Cajuns because it is very hard for anybody to, how would you say, go on a run and win games when your back's against the wall so many times. Cajuns are coming off a bye, so you would hope that the bye would actually, oh, look, Jalen, pop back up. Let's add him back in here. Jalen, I was going to ask you this question here, so now that I got you on here, who do you think wins this game, Louisiana or Arkansas State? Oh, is he not? I don't know what's going on with that there. Having some technical difficulties here on Fishbowl Sports, but it's okay. So fighting for bowl eligibility here. So let me get back to my pick here. I'll wait for Jalen to come back on and try to see what happens here. But let's see this here. So I think that the Cajuns, I think they have too much out. This is a lot of injuries. This is a lot to deal with. And I think that's going to be the reason why they're going to lose this football game. I hate to say it. I want the Cajuns to win this game. Being unbiased about it, looking at it from just a football standpoint, these teams are almost identical with each other in terms of like where they're at in the stat rankings across the board. But I think the Cajuns secondary lost a lot. I think Raiders are going to eat them up out there on Thursday. I think that's the problem that they're going to have here. So I don't know what it is or what it isn't here. I do think that it's going to hurt them at some point there. I think it's going to burn them in late in this game, and I think Arkansas State is going to beat the Cajuns. Jalen, I got you back. Okay, I guess he's having trouble on his end or whatever. Yeah, I guess we're gonna move on here. We're gonna move on, and we're gonna talk about Ragin Cajun men's basketball. They're on the hardwood tonight, guys. So they're on the hardwood. They're gonna be playing on against Stanford tonight. They will be okay. I get Jalen popping up. We're gonna see if we can. Is this the magic one that I can get him in here? Let's see. I'm gonna try to see here. Jalen, I got you this time or not? I wonder if it's maybe it's. I have no idea. I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. I don't know why it's not. I might just have to say. I might just have to message him on like a messenger because I'm using my phone to go live. So y'all give me a second while I type that to him. But yeah, so the Cajuns have to make free throws in this game. They cannot give up these opportunities here. I'm gonna tell them to close out the whole entire thing and then restart it over. That's usually how you solve any IT problem, right? Just turn it off and turn it back on again. If you have any other problems here with anything here, I wonder. Let's see. Pull this up. Okay, let's see if it actually gets it this time, but I don't think it will. Hey, Jalen, if you can hear me, this close out the app itself you're in. Okay, just close it out, then pop back up, and you should pop back in here if you can hear what I'm saying. Yeah, let's see. I don't know if he can. So I mean, this is kind of the issue that I'm dealing with here. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm gonna go message him real quick here. Uh, just making sure. Okay, I thought about to close out this window here. I'm moving all kind of stuff around right now. But anyway, so Cajuns had to make free throws in this game here. They've been the last couple of games that I've been to. I've been to every single home basketball game this year so far, and they don't really work inside too well for the Cajuns here. I see them taking like mid range to outside on the arc here, trying to make them 3 pointers fall. That's a great idea if you're getting them to fall, but if they're not making it, you got to get it inside and try to work it a little bit there. They foul a lot too. I think that's part of the problem there too, and I think that is a big problem with the Cajuns here. Um, let's see here. Okay, I don't know if it's any issue or anything here. I don't know what the deal is here. If it ain't buffering on y'all end, I think everything's fine. Honestly, I just can't really tell anything here. So we're gonna look at this here and just see what happens here. But I think the Cajuns have this. They just have a problem with just making free throws here. Like this is something really simple. They lost again to Tulane because of free throws. That was part of the problem. Their next home game is Jackson State. That's the next time I'm going to see them live and in person here. They are playing tonight at 9 o'clock Central Time. I know. If you're like me and you don't like going to bed too late, it's gonna be a long night for you to watch this basketball game here. So, um, Stanford's a very good basketball team. I'm gonna just try to look at live RPI updates and see what everybody is saying here. I don't know what's really did Jalen. Uh, he's okay. He responded back. He put okay. So look, we're working on something, y'all. We are working on something here. So maybe we can get him back on here. We're gonna try. We're gonna try everything we can. I told him to close out of it and go back in. Hopefully that solves it here.
Hey, there we go.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
solved the issue. It solved the issue.
Yeah. Okay. Look, literally, whenever you get in that little weird, it does that weird. Restream has this weird thing where if your thing disconnects, and you try to come back in, it's gonna kind of give you this weird loop that you can keep going back in and out. So whenever you close it on your phone completely, then just go back into the link and stuff. It populates you back in. It's crazy how all that stuff works, honestly.
It's crazy. Fans out there, I am so sorry for technical difficulties, but hey, Chief, I did hear your question. And to pick the winner of this game, I think it's going to be too tough for the Cajuns to go on the road, already depleted team when it comes to injuries and the suspensions. I'm think the Cajuns are going to lose this one. I want them to win so bad, I really do, because they need to be bowl eligible. But I don't think it's going to happen this year.
It's just a lot of injuries. I think that's kind of what I told everybody. It's a lot of injuries for educated football to overcome. It's a lot to ask of any football team. You go ask if you put this many injuries on 9 out of 10 football teams, you 9 out of 10 times you're gonna lose.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
it's a lot, and it's nothing to do with like Dez or any of the players. It's just a bad situation. There's no other way to go about it. That's it's just a lot. Oh, but yeah, that's gonna be on ESPN, so the Cajuns will be on national television. So that's good, for their brand and pushing it out there. So that's something good for them to kind of look at here whenever you get down to it. So anyway, I was talking about Stanford and them being a good basketball team. Jalen, what does the men's basketball team have to do to beat Stanford tonight?
I think they just have to play their games. And I know that we talked about before on the show how they have like a brand new team, they got a new coach. But at some point, we're gonna stop saying that because we think these guys are going to jail. I think they will. Now we both thought they were going to beat McNeese. McNeese, even post Will Wade era, McNeese is still a really good team as they showed. I think the Cajuns are. It's going to take them a little while to get everything together. But they have great individual players so far. But I think for them to beat Stanford, they just have to play together as a team.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot on them tonight when they go on the road to take on Stanford here. Because like Shalani gets back in either. That's been an Achilles heel for this Raging Cajun men's basketball team. Just being able to just get it to land, man. Just get it like knocking it down, just doing what you gotta do here. You know, Finister had a very good game against McNeese. He scored 25 points in that game. So I'm wondering if that hopefully they get their point guard back, Jamie Allen Keller. You know, he scored 17 points through 2 games. And Olvera 16 points through 2 games too. So like they got guys that can score. If they could
Oh
put it all
yeah.
together, if they could put it all together, I think they're going to be a really good team here. Now, granted, I think that the Sun Belt's a very winnable conference for this team. I'm not going to stay off of that. I think that's going to be a thing that they're going to have here. I think it's a very winnable conference for the Cajuns. I said at the beginning. I made my hot pick of of them winning the conference in year one on Kiwanis. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people, but I think with the guys they got there, if they gel together, I think that's the ceiling. I'm not expecting them to win the first game of the tournament, no matter who they're up against. I don't think they're quite there yet. But I think if they continue to build on what they have here, if they make it to the Sunbelt, if they win the Sunbelt tournament, I think that's a very good opportunity for them to do so here.
No, if this team wins the Sun Belt and get into the tournament in the first, like actually getting to the NCAA tournament, that's the that's the best first year any coach I feel like, and no matter what conference you're in, should be that should be applauded, especially if you're in the Sun Belt. Kiwanis' first job as a head coach, and he takes this team to the tournament, especially with all the new guys. That's a success right there in year one, and he's only going to build from that.
So, they're 3-20. They're 3-24 all time against current members of the ACC. They're 2-1 against SMU and 1-1 against Miami. So they have 13 new players on this roster. This is what I mean. It's going to take them a while, but this is a good time for the Cajuns to. I'm going to call it experiment. Okay,
That's a great
you
word to
can
use.
experiment with what you got because you could just put guys out there. Like honestly, here's the thing. Here's the problem with the Sun Belt Conference in general, just basketball in general. If you're watching here, give me a second. The problem with it is, hypothetically, a team could go undefeated. They can win all their like if the Cajun went undefeated and with this non-conference schedule and their conference schedule, and if they didn't get a high enough RPI or net ranking because of whoever they play on the onset schedule, where they have to win the conference, and if they said they made it to the championship game at a tournament, and if they lost the championship game at a tournament, they wouldn't get in the NCAA tournament. Depending on who's the schedule for that year, which is a hypothetical thing that could hypothetically happen to somebody. But I mean, usually they'll probably be like, okay, they're undefeated. We'll probably get them like a good RPI or net ranking, or like it should generate something there, or like the pollsters would help them out a lot, I think, in that situation. But this is just like a crazy thing that could happen because the Sun Belt's not a good basketball conference. It just isn't. It hasn't been for years. So you basically have to win the Sun Belt tournament to get in there. Like it doesn't matter if you win the regular season, which we saw with the Cajuns a couple of years ago when they had Bob Marlin as head coach in 2018, I think it was that they won the regular season, but they didn't win the tournament conference. So
You talking about that great team, probably one of the greatest Cajun teams in a while
yeah,
that should have made the NCAA tournament. We talking about the Frank Barkleys, the Malik Marquette's, the Jakeen get like you
yeah.
talking about that team
You could
was
you literally could hypothetically go undefeated in conference, get to the tournament, lose the championship game, and then you're done. It doesn't matter like what you did in non-conference.
mhm.
I mean, like if you wins 500 in non-conference and you go undefeated in the Sun Belt Conference, get to the championship tournament final, lose, and you're not in the tournament. So that's why I say experiment because he can take different parts of this roster, say, look, I don't like him at forward. I could put him on the bench and put somebody else there and see how he goes there. Like that's kind of the beauty of this. Like you could completely just screw this up completely for the first part of the season, but then if you get it right when January hits and you could ride that wave of momentum when you get down to March and stuff, then look, I'm all for it. If it works out for it, gets in the NCAA tournament, I'm all for it. If that's your motto and that's the way you want to do things here, I don't think you should ever try to stop making your team better. It's almost like you're trying your best to try to figure out what's going on here. That's what a lot of basketball coaches actually do. I know, for example, I know Kim Mulkey over there at LSU for LSU women's. She's used a different starting lineup every single night that she's been out there. I mean, unfortunately for the Cajuns, at the point guard position has been injured so far for the last two games he's been out. But look, getting him back would be huge for the Cajuns. So we'll see how that goes when it comes down to 9 o'clock tonight here. But if I had a pick in this game, here's what I'm gonna do. I think Stanford wins this game. I don't think the Cajuns win it. I'm waiting on them to gel. I'm waiting them to get everything kind of going here. I want them to dump the ball more inside. I want them to make more free throws. I think that's the two biggest things holding this Cajuns offense back. Now I like defense. I like their defense. I think they play fast. I think they play physical. I think they play aggressive at times. Maybe a little too aggressive at times for them to get fouls and stuff. But I think that is a good way for you to establish a gritty culture here in Lafayette. What you think, Jalen?
Yeah, I think Stanford is going to get the win, but defensively, I think that's Kiwanis's blueprint for this team. Play great defensively on offense, try to get the easy buckets. But this team offensively, I don't think there's an issue for them at all. Honestly, overall, the whole team is great. They have, like you said, they have people that can put the ball in the basket. They just have to gel and be able to play together consistently, and they can run the table in the Sun Belt. And your prediction, I'll say a couple months from now, then people be like, "Oh yeah, Chief was right," because this team they can be the best in the Sun Belt.
And then after Stanford, they got Santa Clara on Friday night once again 9 o'clock. Um, so that's two games there. Then they get UC Davis on November 24th on that Monday. So they got a Saturday Sunday rest before they head back home. So I don't think this West Coast swing's gonna go very well for them too much here. I wish it's California. It'd be California dreaming. They might lose all three of these games. To be honest with y'all, I don't feel really good about it. I think if best case scenario, I think they win one. I just don't think they're there yet. I think that let me get them a win against maybe one of these, but I know they. I know. I think Stanford killed McNeese. Somebody beat McNeese or Tulane or one of them. One of these three here did. But I think they might go 0-3. That's probably my pick. What do you think, Jalen?
It's like I hate to go on three, but it's still early in the season. They're still trying to work things out. I don't know which one, but I'll give them one win out of the three. I don't think it's gonna be against Stanford tonight though. So against maybe UC Davis, I would give them one, but it's just it's still too early in the season.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot here. So let's talk about Raging Cajun women's basketball here as we're going through all this here. They haven't won yet. I thought they would win against Nichols. I do think that this has been some kind of rumblings going on that Gary Broadhead is on the hot seat. What do you think, Jalen?
I mean, they're still winless. You thought I mean, everybody thought they would beat Nichols. I mean, of course, you don't expect them to beat Texas, but Nichols is like in-state school. I mean, they're still winless. Yes, I think definitely you're on the hot seat when your team is winless.
Yeah, I think that's it's tough. I mean, they're trying to rebuild this squad from last year. They lost a lot of talent last year. They ended up being like in the mid pack of the Sun Belt Conference last year. But they're gonna take on Memphis a week from tonight. It's not looking too good.
Mm-mm.
Um, yeah, I just
I'm trying to see when they go. Like, who you think they're going to get their first win against? Because I really want the team to get, like it's
I'm
just
looking at High Point. I think they could beat High Point.
yeah. Okay, okay.
I think High Point's the game right after them. They could probably beat East Texas A&M too. That's another one they could probably win. Morehead State they should win. Like these are all teams that they should win. There's not really much reason why they should, you know, like Fresno State, they're gonna lose that one. I think they'll lose against Memphis. You know that I think High Point's gonna probably be their most likely shot at their first game one out of those three. Their first game they win out of those three. Because if not, I think they should be East Texas A&M. I gotta make sure I make say the word East before I get into any of those. But
No, for
uh,
real.
you know, Morehead State right after that. You know, they should win those two after that. I think the way it's looking here. I think Broadhead they it's a rough going, just to say the least. I mean, that's kind of the way it's going for them right now. Um, Looking back, let's go look. Delta State, they should have won that one. I mean, I
Yeah,
saw a lot of
absolutely.
miss open jumpers and shots there that they should have had in that game. They just missed it. But looking back at the game there, I'm kind of wondering. Well, oh, this is Nichols anyway. But Michaela had 23 points in that game, and whenever you get that there, you should expect some wins there. But they need to try to play a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball there because they gave Nichols some wide open jumpers, and I was wondering when they're going to get someone over there to go rotate back over, but it just didn't work out for
Hmm.
them there. So that's kind of the problem. What you think about this women's basketball team so far, Jalen?
I just it's kind of really the opposite of the men. I think with this women's team, first thing is to get a win. I think going into the season, you try to get Coach Broadhead try to see the different lineups that he can go through. But at this point, I think that you secure that first win and then try to see how by making adjustments because it's really tough because I know these girls out here like playing their hearts out, but it's just not relatively picking up the wins. And I think, like you say, 23 point. I'm just they're able to. They have the players that can score points, and this team might be new too, but I mean they have a seasoned coach who's Brock has been the coach for a long time, and it's just not looking good. It's really not. I want them to secure their first win and go make adjustments from there.
So I'll tell you something here. If you look at their field goal shooting for the entire game and their 3-point shooting and all that good noise, their 3-point shooting was almost equal to what their field goal shooting from the floor was. Percentage 34.2% they shot from the floor, 30.8 behind the arc. Free throws, they did pretty good. They got 71% of the free throws. So I think if they can draw fouls on players, I think that'd be a really good thing because they only went to the line. They only shot 14 from the line. So whereas Nichols, they had 26 opportunities from the line. Hey, opportunities produce points, and that's really where this game was won. Honestly, at the free throw line once again because they made 15 of them, and that right there, that 15 compared to that 10 that the Cajuns made, that's a 5-point swing right there that can go either way. I mean, they won 64 just in that game right there. That's a big difference right there. That swing could go either way, and how you want to do it. So, I think that's part of the problem, and I think that could be something we're gonna have to look at here as we get through this here. Oh yeah, I did forget to put this up here. I should have done this before the show, but I keep forgetting that we have our own QR code actually, guys. So if you want to buy some merch for the Raging Cajuns or this anything you need from we have a partnership with Walmart. We are the only sports podcast in Acadiana that has a partnership with Walmart. So this it's camp okay. This right here where I'm getting my this is the QR code. You scan it, it'll take you directly to our little storefront, and you could get any kind of like thing you want. If you're going through the code here, going through our link here that we got supplied right here, it will bring you to our store, and you can get Raging Cajun gear. Like if you want something Christmas shopping, if you need a gift or anything like that, you could get that through that store and shop online at Walmart. Walmart's got a great selection of stuff that you can get here for a pretty good price. I will say that there. So that is something that I'm kind of trying to work this into the episode a little bit more. So, but yeah, I think the Caden losing against Memphis next Tuesday. I just don't think they got the chance to win that one there. Jalen, you want to say anything before we get off here?
I was just gonna say, guys, the holidays are here. Christmas is gonna be here before you know it. Any Black Friday shopping or even last minute shopping. Hey,
Hey, I don't.
QR code's right there.
Yeah, I don't want y'all to be last minute shopping. That's why I got this QR code and we got that storefront. You can go look. Look, I'm trying to help everybody out get the stuff they need. So you ain't waiting out there like, oh man, my wife's gonna kill me. My wife's gonna kill me if they get over here. That's what I don't want for y'all guys. So, just go get what y'all need. Click on that link, get what you need, and we'll have everything there for you here. If you're on Facebook and you can't see the QR code, you can either go to YouTube for our thing there. You can scan it, or you can go on our link that we have on, like we have it on our socials. You'll find it on social somewhere. We have it somewhere. I have everything there. It should be good and it should be fine there. Whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, X. Uh, I don't
Hmm.
think there's an actual opportunity for a YouTube storefront there too. I know that I think we have it on TikTok. I think we have it on TikTok. But yeah, so for all that there, I think we're gonna wrap it up here for the show here. I'll be back here in an hour to do another show, but we're gonna be talking about the school across the basin, LSU. So that's one that we're gonna be talking about here. So we'll talk about them in an hour here. I'm gonna go try to see what's going on out there. So thank you for tuning in here to this episode here of Fishbowl Sports here. Ragin Fishbowl is our newest page, so go follow that. If you want strictly Ragin Cajun content, I cannot stress that enough. Ragin Fishbowl is strictly Ragin Cajun stuff. So if you don't want to have LSU populate your feed and stuff, I do want you to support Fishbowl Sports because I think they kind of both marry each other. You could follow us each way there. It should be good to go. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a great, wonderful day. We'll see y'all here next time here on Fishbowl Sports, the home of Ragin Fishbowl. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.